200. I hear that in Toronto, their scoreboard doesn't go all the way up to 200. It goes up to 199. I was really hoping the Western Conference All-Stars would reach 200. And also, I'm also kind of disappointed that Paul George didn't surpass Wilt Chamberlain's points per his points record in the All-Star game of 42. Paul George finished with 41. So it's kind of disappointing that Paul George wasn't able to get that number, and the West, decided to be the bad guys there and actually play defense for those final 2 minutes to keep him from getting there. And I was a little upset about that.
All right, so topic for everybody. I know Paul George dropped some big numbers, 41 points. Correct me if I'm wrong in the All-Star game, but people were pretty upset that Russell Westbrook got it. How you guys feel about that?
I mean, if he got the most points, shouldn't he automatically be the MVP?
I mean, what's your most valuable player? Are we talking about the guy who just drops the most points, or we're talking about the guy who, without him, this team wouldn't have won?
I mean, to me, the MVP of any game is the all-around athlete. But, I mean, dropping 41 points is pretty incredible.
No, well, what do you think?
First of all, most valuable player, MVP. The East obviously didn't win with those 41 points, and it still wasn't close, so obviously it wasn't that valuable to them.
True.
And if we're talking about who is the most valuable player out there last night, the guy who made it such a great night, the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant, he deserved the MVP award for that reason alone. I know I voted for him, and I was really disappointed. I was waiting for Steve Harvey to come out and say there was a mistake and that Kobe Bryant was actually the real MVP and not Russell Westbrook.
Okay, but here's my thing. I love Kobe. I do. I know Ryan, my boy Lavoy, loves Kobe. I know he does. 20-piece. There you go. Fade away. There it is. But look, Kobe had 10 points,
Yeah.
I know it was his last season. It would have been clutch to give him MVP. However, I don't think he deserved it. It would have been nice for him to have it. But to say deserve, I think that's a little bit too strong.
Me
well,
too.
Let's look at it this way, though. Kobe was the heart and soul of that Western Conference team out there.
Okay.
They played for Kobe. They shot for Kobe. They passed to Kobe several times. If it wasn't for Kobe out there, I mean, the West probably still would have won because they have the better All-Stars. But think about it. For such a great offensive performance last night, Kobe really was the heart and soul of that team, and he's the heart and soul of the league right now.
I mean, he was, but, I mean, you don't pick an MVP just because they fight for you. I mean, Peyton Manning wasn't the MVP of the Super Bowl because they were fighting for him to win a championship. It was Von Miller because he had the best all-around performance. Wouldn't you agree, Jared?
I agree with that.
Nonetheless, wouldn't you have liked to see Kobe Bryant get his fifth MVP?
I know. I agree. I would have liked it. But, I mean, she does bring up a good point. Noah, your love for Kobe just runs deep. That's what it is, man.
Well, who should have gotten the MVP? Because certainly not Westbrook, and then Paul George shouldn't have got it because the East didn't win. So who should have gotten the MVP last night?
What's wrong with Westbrook's performance last night?
It wasn't Kobe's. Kobe deserved the award, hands down.
Yeah, but like Jared just said, he only scored 10 points versus 31. I mean, he outscored Kobe by 3 times the amount of points.
Was their defense played last night?
Oh, no. Are we saying the defense wins championships? Ooh.
I'm just saying that 31 points isn't that impressive when you've got nobody playing defense on you. And I will say this. I got really excited when Westbrook started hitting a lot of threes. I'm a huge Westbrook fan. He hit a lot of threes in a row on one stretch, and they were like fadeaway threes in the corner. It was stuff that you normally see Steph and Curry doing. But nonetheless, respect Kobe in this situation. He's the heart and soul of the league. He was the heart and soul of the game last night. I mean, obviously, they made the All-Star game revolve around him yesterday. I mean, every interview was with Kobe. Let's keep that in mind. And the pregame, they made him give a speech. I mean, in my eyes and in a lot of people's eyes out there and in their hearts, Kobe Bryant was their MVP last night.
Yeah, but most people would say you pick an MVP based off the stats and off of your head, not your heart.
All right. You guys have a lot of emotion on this. We love Kobe. He's going to have a great rest of the season. And then he's going to go off to the sunset with a couple of rings on his finger.
I have one more thing to say, Jared. Just one more thing. She said we don't pick MVPs with our hearts.
Okay.
Aren't the MVPs out there the players who steal our hearts? The guys that we look at them and we say, you the real MVP, to quote Kevin Durant. I mean, those players out there become our MVPs because they steal the show, because they steal our hearts. I mean, Stephen Curry did that last year. Every player that goes out there every season and wins the MVP award in the NBA and then in that game are the guys that steal your heart, the guy that makes you want to watch the game. So, I mean, he was my most valuable player.
Yes, but that's because of their great performance. I mean, Stephen Curry was arguably the best player in the league last year, and that's why he deserved to win the MVP.
But I have something to say. That is true, Noah. What you said is true. For league MVP, this is just an all-star game. For a league MVP, what you said is really true. Because they the real MVP. But this is just an all-star game.
True. I mean, you don't pick a Pro Bowl MVP just because of that. I mean, Pro Bowl is completely different, but...
I think we're just going to disagree today, guys. I really got to stick with the Black Mamba. I should have voted for him more than once, but I didn't know if it would count.
We're going to go on to our next topic, and this one's going to be a good one. Duke basketball took on Virginia in North Carolina and hit a controversial game winner to take down 7th-ranked Virginia. So this is what happened. Actually, Noah, you tell them what happened.
Well, a missed call by a ref is what happened, but also greatness on Duke's part to knock down the shot. He still knocked down the shot, but Grayson Allen traveled. First of all, took 3 steps on his way to the rim, but then he went up with what looked like was going to be about a floater or kind of a fadeaway kind of shot thing, and he came down in what is colloquially referred to as an up and down, but it's a traveling violation. But when his feet hit the ground, he took the shot, and he made it, the buzzer beater to beat Virginia. And, he still made the shot, and people are going to say what they will, but this has been happening for a long time, and there have been missed calls, so I don't know really what to say about this.
But my question is, did he fly Delta, though?
Well, I don't think he packed his bags. I mean, because he was traveling. I don't really think he packed his bags.
You know who should pack their bags? Duke, because they're not going far in the tournament.
No, they
Wow. They did win the championship last year.
Remember when Mercer came in and said, "Nuh-uh," and got that out of here? Yes.
But in my opinion, I mean, Virginia was ranked 7th coming into this.
Yes.
And they just lost to Duke, who you said it's not going to go very far. Even if Virginia still won, that doesn't make them look like a 7th-ranked team.
Well,
I mean, the shot went in, and Duke won the game. Regardless of that penalty.
There was 2 travels. 2.
I know, but in a lot of big sporting events, there's always, a missed call or something. But they always say that shouldn't determine the outcome of the game.
True. If Virginia really wanted to win that game, they should put it away. Just like Duke should have put it away against Miami in football, but I won't go.
Well, you can make the same argument about Duke missing those 2 free throws at the end of the game there, and the argument could also go the other way, that they basically gave Virginia the lifeline there. But here's my thing. Y'all are talking about Duke like there's some pushover. They've only lost like 6 games this season. They're no pushover. They're back inside the top 20.
That.
I mean,
the connotation that y'all were using there about Duke. I mean, first of all, Jared's saying that they're going to go out in basically the first or second round. And by the way, they're actually called the first round again. It's not like the second round, weirdly, as it used to be.
That's also
but
true.
I never said that they were a bad team.
No,
I just said that they made
honestly,
Virginia look like they weren't the 7th-ranked team in the nation.
But just because you lose to Duke in Cameron Indoor, by the way, doesn't mean that you're not a top 10 team. A lot of top 10 teams go to Durham, North Carolina, and lose to the Duke Blue Devils.
But their ranking will go down, is all I'm saying.
Very true.
I do think Duke will lose in the second round. I really do think that. Because of one thing. March Madness is going to be one crazy year this year.
Yes.
There is no really good team. By the way, RIP Duke, because you meet North Carolina, let's go Tar Heels. But Duke, for me, they're just a little bit inconsistent.
They may be inconsistent as far as wins and losses go, but they have only lost 6 games this season. There's a lot of teams hovering around that mark, around 20-5, 20-6, and I felt like last week they probably should have been ranked, but now they are back at 20. But if we're talking about Duke and how they're going to pan out in the tournament this year, I could see them easily finding their way into the Sweet 16 or possibly even the Elite 8 on some type of run that way, mainly because although they have been inconsistent with wins and losses, what they do every game is score. the basketball. They get buckets. That is something that they are consistent about. It's hard to shut them down. The fact that Virginia held them to such a low amount of points last night was shocking to me because normally I was expecting actually a really offensive game from two. This season Virginia is a very offensive team, and normally they're not. But I was expecting more of in the 70s or 80s, and I think no team that Duke will face in the first and second round will be able to hold them to below 70 points, and that's how you're going to have to beat Duke this season.
Defense wins.
For me, when it comes to Duke, if those shots aren't falling, second round they're done for, because they're gonna run into that one. They're gonna run into that one team that's probably a higher seed than them. That's on that run. That's just gonna make every shot just hit. I feel as though a top team like Duke can easily be beat at home in the round of 32. I feel it's gonna happen. I feel like it's that type of year. Look for a high seed to make a run in the round of 32, Sweet 16. I mean, look for it.
I mean, what team are you thinking about? I'm sure you have a team pictured in your head while you're saying this. What team's just gonna make that run?
Well, the first thing that comes into mind for me, and they only come to my mind because one of their players is Rhode Island has a player who
Rhode Island?
Rhode Island has a player that has a full mask on. It's amazing. He had like it looks like a hockey mask. And it was funny because we were in the studio today watching a vine of him sitting on the bench, and literally he had a Powerade bottle and he was drinking like through a straw.
Jared, are you currently aware of Rhode Island's record?
I have no idea.
You just
okay.
said that
Also,
because of
can
the
I
mask?
test?
You said what team comes to mind first, and I just said Rhode Island because
No, I said to make the run, the high seed team that you think could make the run.
I've always been a fan of the Dayton Flyers.
That is a good. I was actually about to say that, Jared. Oh yes, 21-3 Dayton Flyers. If they can win their conference, oh man, this team could go far in the tournament. They really are not even being talked about as a power at the moment, and I'm really impressed with their offensive ability out there.
And I like the enthusiasm, but it is a quarter past the hour, and we got to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about more sports because that's what we're all about. You listen to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM.
It really happened. She had this when she was 17. The way she saw things going, it wasn't a good environment to raise a kid. The fact that she did that just shows how strong of a woman my mother is, and I thank her each and every day for it. I wouldn't be the person who I am today, and I like the person I am today. I knew I was loved and I was part of a family, so that was what's important to me.
For more information, visit ichooseadoption.org.
I'm Christoph. And I'm Christopher. And our mom chose adoption.
For young men turning 18 to register with the selective service and realize their dream. Today they're on the net. It's much easier now. Visit us at www.sss.gov. It's the law.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jared Diller, with my co-host, Meredith Brito, and with Noah Gardner on the third mic. Also in studios, Ron Lavoie. Ron, how's your game of 2K going?
It's going well. It has nothing to do with what you guys are talking about right now, but I just wanted to say one thing is watch out for Oakland with Khalil Felder. He's the third leading scorer in the NCAA and first assist man in the NCAA. So there's my Cinderella pick for what it's worth.
Dropping knowledge.
and Ron dropping knowledge
Just
on
like he'll
2K
drop buckets.
and on the show. Up next is the 3-point shooter, and where me and Meredith give our 3 biggest topics that we want to talk about. And Noah, you can happily jump into each one of these topics as you see fit. But for me, first up, you've probably heard it. Peyton Manning, Tennessee allegations. Meredith, start us off.
Well, personally, I'm just confused as to why this is just now coming up. It's been years and years and years since he's been at Tennessee. I mean, why isn't this just now coming up?
Well,
Because his career's over and they covered it up for so long?
from what I understand, and Noah, I know you've read this story extensively.
I sent it to you last night.
You-
I
you
was
did.
probably
You-
one of the
you
first
sent it
people
to
to
me.
jump all over it.
So chime in when you feel like you have a need to.
Well, I feel a need right now. I loved Peyton Manning, and that's past
And guys,
tense.
he used past tense.
I
You heard
did
that
use-
ED on the end?
Yeah.
Oh man, it got
Uh-oh.
real.
And trust me, he was one of my favorite players in the league, and I was really happy the other night when he got the Super Bowl. I mean, I still bittersweet because I wanted Cam. Either way, I was going to win the Super Bowl because my quarterbacks were in it.
True.
But Peyton Manning, now that I've learned this about him, not only did he, and if you haven't read the article, it's on ESPN. You can go and check that out. And I don't really want to say what he did on air, but if you go and find out what he did, after he did it, he then defamed the trainer that he did it to and wrote a book about it. And people obviously are going to believe what's written in the book if it's from Peyton Manning, a well-respected individual at the time. And now, like, if you go to that length to lie and then to defame an individual of something you did and then you didn't even fess up to your mistake and you haven't been found out until 20 years later, I've lost a lot of respect for him. And now I don't know how I feel about him. I was quick to defend him on the HGH charges, but now it's looking like it could be actually correct that he may have used HGH, which is kind of funny how the press really affects how we see individuals.
For me, I still don't know if he did HGH. That's
Me too.
I mean, I'm not gonna let the one story affect another, thought that I may have about him. As of the University of Tennessee allegations, not to mention that Tennessee is already in the spotlight for some stuff that happened recently with a couple of football players sexually assaulting some women on campus, and then those said players beating up one of their own teammates. I think a good couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that happened. So not only is Tennessee in the spotlight for that, but now they're in the spotlight for this Peyton Manning stuff. And I didn't know the depth that no one knew about the book, and I knew there were allegations that he covered it up and that Tennessee covered it up, and it was coming back out because there was a new suit filed where that was in it, where the University of Tennessee is being taken to court over having a hostile work environment. So I do know that much. I guess for me, I love Peyton Manning to death. I'm just gonna let this play out.
So am I. I mean, for me, I believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And I mean, we don't have 100% confirmation about this allegation or the HGS or the HGH testing. I mean, maybe it's just because I grew up, loving Peyton Manning, as most of us did. And you want to believe that he comes from such a great family and that he, Eli, Archie, and Cooper, never get in trouble. But this could very well be a possibility.
Meredith, for your first topic, you had beast mode.
Can I interject really quickly?
Oh.
You said something about Peyton Manning being innocent till proven guilty. 20 years ago, it was proven in a court of law that this occurred, but it was pretty much covered up and settled. I believe that is what happened. That is where I've seen that in multiple sources so far.
Then why is this coming up again?
Because Tennessee went to great extents. I mean, it's the athletic world that we live in that people are putting athletes over, morals and standards. Tennessee went to great lengths to cover this up, not only with ESPN and other major news outlets, but also when it went to court. And they pretty much made this, even though they, proved that Peyton Manning was in the wrong here, they made the trainer leave. So any evidence, everything was all cleaned up very quickly. And back then, also, you have to look at it. This wasn't, although it was still an issue back in the day, people weren't talking about it as big of an issue as it is today. And so it was definitely viewed and much easier back then to clean it up than it is now. If something like this is linked into the press now, you're done.
I agree.
I do agree that colleges do put their athletes over morals because a lot of times athletes can get away with things that they normally wouldn't get away with because that university just want to keep them around because if the public knew what that athlete did, they would be crucified.
I agree. Well, we'll just have to see how this plays out.
Moving on to Meredith's first topic, beast mode, putting up the cleats. Maybe we're not sure. Does anybody actually know what's going on with Marshawn Lynch? Is he officially done?
I mean, from all that I'm aware of, he posted the Twitter pic of him hanging up the cleats, and it was, from what I remember, a very vague tweet where he had like an emoji, and I think it was the peace sign, if I'm correct. But I don't know. There's just part of me that thinks he's going to come back. I don't know if it's going to be for the Seahawks or not, but I just think part of him wants to keep playing, but I'm not 100% sure what he's feeling in his heart. But with all the concussion stuff that's going on and with a lot of people jumping ship after the movie Concussion came out and all these allegations that involving the concussion illness, I really have no idea if he's for real or not.
I'm okay with him hanging up the cleats.
I am
honestly.
too. I think save his legacy a little bit. I think he's getting a little old.
No, I see you shaking your head over there.
Well, first of all, to answer about your question about what is Marshawn Lynch doing right now, I'm pretty sure Marshawn Lynch doesn't know what he's doing half the time he's going throughout his days. I mean, he's just living life so he doesn't get fined. But I will say this.
There's some shots going on. I gotta check my bulletproof vest, make sure I didn't get hit.
And although I am taking these shots at Marshawn Lynch, he's a phenomenal running back, so I don't want to see him leave the league. He's not declining in production unless it's because he's not getting his number called in the Super Bowl, to be honest. I mean, he could have won the Super Bowl for them that day. He was one play away.
I still honestly believe the Seahawks should have run the ball against the Patriots.
If Matt Forte is still in the league and is still producing on a gamely basis, Marshawn Lynch can double those numbers on a gamely basis if they call his number. Marshawn Lynch is still a phenomenal running back, and he should be picked up if the Seahawks don't want him. If the Seahawks want to throw him in the garbage like yesterday's Mushu pork, some other team better pick it up and put it in the refrigerator.
Two things. A, what is Mushu pork?
It's a very delicious pork that's normally found in some Asian cultures' dishes.
And B, if Marshawn Lynch wants to hang up the shoes, he can hang them up, and I won't be upset. Homie got his money. He going off to the sunset with some Skittles.
I'm not going to be too upset, but do you think it's because the Seahawks aren't willing to bring him back is why he's thinking about retiring, or do you think it's the concussion protocols and all the issues going on?
Maybe
with
he just
that?
doesn't want to talk about it.
Marshawn Lynch doesn't care about getting hurt. Are we serious? I don't believe Marshawn Lynch is looking into those concussion protocols and future being injured. That just doesn't seem like something that Marshawn Lynch would be concerned about. Once again, does Marshawn Lynch look like he's concerned about much in his life?
Maybe a little bit. We don't know the guy personally.
I think Marshawn Lynch will be stuck in purgatory for the fact that if he retires, he has to give a retirement speech and that he doesn't want to take a speech. So he's going to stay stuck in purgatory for the rest of his life.
That is pretty funny. Here's my thing. Marshawn needs to come back, play a couple more years. I'm tired of these 30-year-olds hanging up their cleats and putting up the shoulder pads. There's still a lot of productive years ahead of you. If you're not getting hurt and you're okay and you're producing still, keep producing, keep pounding, even though you're a Seahawk.
But he was hurt for quite a bit of the season. Do you
That
think
is true.
due to injury?
He was hurt for a good bit of the season.
Do you think he's afraid that he's going to be injured next season?
I mean,
I really
homie
don't.
gotta walk.
You don't think he's concerned about that at all?
No.
I think it would kind of hurt his legacy a little bit if he's hurt all next year.
I really don't think he's concerned about it. He's beast mode. He knows he's beast mode. He's got that confidence. I mean, just listen to the way he handles himself. He knows he's beast mode, and I'm sure he doesn't want to get hurt. No athlete wants to get hurt, but that's not the first thing in his mind. That's voodoo to an athlete. You don't talk about getting injured. You don't think about getting injured because you know what happens when you do? You get hurt. The 3-letter word ACL is not something you want to talk about if you're an athlete. And so I don't really think he's focusing in on that. I think he wants to get paid. And I think there are teams out there who are willing to pay for him so they can go to a Super Bowl.
You're fired up about this, Noah.
I really am.
But we're going on to the next topic.
That's fine with me.
LSU. I don't know if you guys know about this, but the LSU governor recently said that the LSU football program is in jeopardy because the state is facing a budget deficit. Because LSU is a state-run school. So the state doesn't have any money, the program cannot function.
That is such an LSU thing to say.
That's the thing.
That's horrible.
LSU didn't say it. The governor of the state said it.
Can you imagine how many people would go to LSU to watch the sporting events?
The fact is, if that was true, that if your state had a deficit that your team couldn't play, then there wouldn't be any teams playing because, the whole nation's in a deficit. I think only a couple of states have a surplus in their budget. That's into political science talk, which I don't think anybody wants to get into right now.
What's that?
Look, are we actually concerned that, okay, say we do wake up tomorrow and LSU says we're not playing football because of a budget problem.
That would be an LSU thing to say in my mind, pointing fingers at someone else other than their own. I mean, that's what almost got Les Miles fired.
I mean,
I'm
aren't
salty
there
today.
other teams that have bigger budget deficits?
Well, that's the thing. LSU as a team, the university does not have a budget problem. The state of Louisiana has a budget problem.
But that's like, other than the New Orleans Saints, that's their team.
I mean, that is her team. We're talking about, for instance, Ron LaVoie's going to feel very strongly about this. It's like taking UAB away from the state of Alabama. I mean, although UAB may not be the biggest team in Alabama because Auburn and Alabama are here, it's like taking UAB away. And the University of Alabama Birmingham were highly upset when they shut down that football program.
They were, and LSU's on a bigger scale, so I can only imagine.
I disagree with what you said there. LSU is not like, if you took away LSU out of Louisiana, that's not like taking UAB out of Birmingham.
No,
it would
it's
be
a
on the
much bigger
same.
deal.
It would be on a
It would
bigger
be the
scale.
same if you were taking away Louisiana Lafayette, or if you were taking away Louisiana Monroe. If you take away LSU, you take away a huge. I mean, there goes a lot of financial green zone. I'm talking profit goes away on Saturdays in the state of Louisiana. I mean, alcohol sales will probably plummet.
LaVoie, do you have something to say?
As the resident from Birmingham here, UAB is actually vital to the state of Alabama, not because of its sports program, but because of its medical research,
Yes.
because of its medical school. And so taking down UAB would actually be, I agree, would be just as detrimental to the state, not because of the athletics, but because of the rest of the school, what it does for UAB Hospital and whatnot.
Wow.
Mic drop.
Knowledge. Well, we have to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll try to finish up the three-point shoot-around, and then we're going to get into our game show, which, guys, I still have not come up with a name for it, but I'll think about it during the commercial break. You're listening to The Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, I had one thing on my mind. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball every chance I could. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn the signs of a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. I'm Paul George. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke F-A-S-T. Fast. Life is why. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Anthony Anderson, and on TV, I play a dad who has it all. But growing up, my real life was very different. My parents taught me that tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. That's why they each had life insurance to take care of the future. I got my first policy when I was 18. Now, would your family be okay if something happened to you? If you can buy a latte, you can buy life insurance. It's that affordable. Join me in taking care of our family's futures at lifehappens.org.
A public service message from the nonprofit Life Happens.
And welcome to The Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM. Breaking news. Ron LaVoie's Lakers 2K franchise just beat the Clippers by 15. Klay Thompson with 19 points. Let's go Lakers sitting at 6-2 in the franchise, looking for that number 3 or 4 seed. They're not going to get number 1 because my Dallas Mavericks are there. JJ, stop pointing at yourself. Nobody likes the Omaha Magic. There's a story behind that I'm not going to get into. He tried to move him to Omaha, and Omaha said no. So, coming up, we are going to, before we do the game show, which I'm really excited for, Meredith has one more topic we want to talk about on a 3-point shoot around. If you're at home and you're keeping your stats, you notice we only went through 2 rounds. That is because we are short on time for today. We've been getting to some good debates. So technically, it's only the 2-point shoot around. We'll be back to 3 next week. But Meredith, your last topic for the 3, 2, whatever point shoot around is
RG3. What's going to happen to him?
Oh, man.
Okay.
Robert Griffin III.
He was on the bench for the Washington Redskins this year.
Correct.
And he's, in my opinion, a huge waste of money for that team.
Okay.
And I feel as though they feel pretty secure with Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but Kirk Cousins got him to the playoffs in a weak NFC East, I will say. But RG3's not doing anything good for that team other than taking up cap space. And there's been some reports recently asking, does RG3 fit in this system? Does he fit in this system? If you ask me, the only team I could really...
Wait. We're all going to say it on 3, okay? Where we think he's going, okay? 1, 2, 3, Philadelphia.
Dallas.
The bench.
What just happened?
Philadelphia. That might not be too bad. Or what about the 49ers?
Oh, you know what? I was probably thinking 49ers, and I thought
Philly fans would eat him up, and not in a good way. Not the kind of way that you're eating a Philly cheesesteak. They would. I don't think they would like.
I don't think he'd go to a rival either.
Oh, DeMarco Murray did it.
Yeah, but DeMarco Murray wanted the money.
Hey, you go where the money. In the great words of Chris Brown, if it don't make dollar, it don't make sense.
Wherever he's going, he's playing on the bench. RG3 is not a prototypical NFL quarterback, and I don't think he's capable of being one, and I don't think he's capable of success.
One thing I think he'd be really good at is being that really good backup that Dallas needs. In case Tony Romo goes down again, you know, he can be a really good backup. Dallas had so many different backups this year.
I mean,
if they could keep one that has a
so
chance
did the
of winning.
Colts. I mean, my favorite NFL team is the Colts. They had so many, like, they had 1, 2, 3, 4 Josh Freeman. They have 4 backups. We're still going to keep Andrew Luck. Tony Romo still has a good 3-4 years left in him. He's usually been healthy. Last 2 years, he has not. He is a great quarterback. That division is Dallas's when he is healthy. I'm not worried about Tony Romo. Dallas is going to go get a quarterback in the draft either this year or next year, and they're going to develop him. So I don't even think Dallas is worried about RG3 or thou who shall not be named, Johnny Manziel.
Well, the one thing that I think is Jerry World wants some excitement. And Tony Romo, there's been some times, I mean, I know he has a great offensive line now, but there's been times in that system where he's had to escape the pocket numerous times. And when you think of a quarterback that's really good at escaping the pocket, I think RG3 is one of them.
Yeah, but
the man can't even slide correctly. What do you mean?
But if he learned how to.
If Jerry World wants excitement, add an amusement park, okay? Because RG3 is not the main attraction that you want in your park. The guy may know how to get out of the pocket, but just ask Andrew Luck how that goes. It puts you on the IR, and it's not the kind of quarterback that NFL teams need to go after. If we're answering this question realistically, will he end up at a team? Yes. Will he start at that team? I don't know. Where should he actually be at? On the bench, and that's all I have to say.
But I think that there's some teams where he could, sit, learn, get back into the game, and possibly be a starter for a team that's maybe having a quarterback that's aging. But another team I just thought of was, could you imagine if he was like a backup in Minnesota?
Minnesota?
Yeah, the Vikings.
I know what the team is, but Minnesota.
At least give him his retirement home in like Florida or something. Don't send him and banish him to the Alpines. Just let him be a bench player in somewhere where it's warm.
I mean, I think he could fit in that system.
They do have a new stadium though, so at least it'll be warm.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that he would fit in that system. I'm just trying to think of places where he would fit.
Hey.
The 49ers?
Hey.
Anywhere where there is a bench, he will fit.
Philadelphia 76ers, they're going to call RG3. Here we go.
They need all the help they can get.
Moving on to our game show, which Noah Gardner has accepted whatever word I was trying to come up with. Noah Gardner has named 1 second.
Yeah, you gave me the inspiration at the start of this segment of the show, so I'm pretty pumped to bring this to you guys. But the way this is going to work is I'm going to bring up a topic. You guys are going to provide your arguments in a very short amount of time, and I will decide who wins the argument, and you will get a point. At the end of all this, we will decide a winner. Are you ready? All right, well, then let's go. Should the NL have a DH rule? The NL's been bringing this up for some time now. Should the NL have the DH rule? And if not, should the AL have one too?
Meredith, ladies first.
I mean, I personally kind of find it a little odd that each team has a different, not each team, each conference has a different rule on this. I think they should both have the same rule, but I kind of like the DH rule. I think it's adds some spark, and pitchers aren't meant to hit.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Boom, knowledge bomb right there.
Is that your argument?
Well, okay, let me put it this way.
You have 10 seconds.
10 seconds? Oh, Lord. Okay, so the AL has DH and NL does not. The only time that actually makes a big, impact is for the Interplay Series or the World Series, because strategy becomes so important when you have the DH rule.
Time's up. All right.
Oh, okay, well, I didn't know there was actually a buzzer behind this.
Personally, I disliked what Meredith had to say, mainly, but that doesn't mean you lost. Just because she stated her argument better than you did, Jared.
I said there was strategy.
But I also disagree with what you have to say, because I don't think the AL should have the DH rule. I think it takes away strategy altogether, and that's why I disagree with both of you. There needs to be the pitcher has to hit, okay? He shouldn't get any type of special treatment.
I think we should keep it the same. No.
I think
what
pitchers
JJ said.
Pitchers need to focus on pitching. They aren't meant to hit.
There are some pitchers who can hit, but
Yeah, I know. Tim Hudson.
because she stated her argument eloquently and did a very good job putting it out there rather than saying one sentence before I said elaborate more, I'm going to give it to Meredith. Round one.
This is biased. This is because it's Monday, isn't it?
I disagreed with her statement more than yours, so I don't see how that's very
the way
biased.
I articulated it.
Moving on. Let's go with who is the best free agent on the market right now in the NFL. It's getting to that point in time. Who should be going where, and what's the hottest commodity out there?
Von Miller, linebacker for the Denver Broncos. Because he is so instrumental. He can tip the scale of a game. You saw it in the Super Bowl. That man played like he played lights out. He played like he had a mortgage, child support, had to pay for his ailing grandmother who was in the hospital. He played like he had something on the line. Like Jesus handed him the ball and said, go do something great with your life. That's how well he played the game. Defense is so instrumental to what a team is all about.
Can I put Jared on mute? Now you're talking too much.
Hey, I control the board.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay, for me, we know that Von Miller is going to be re-signed to the Broncos.
I mean, that is true.
That's pretty set in stone. I think the biggest game changer could honestly be Matt Forte. I think a team that doesn't have a good running game, if you put Matt Forte in there and he's still able to get the job done, I think he could really transform a team and give him a running game.
I like my argument better.
Well, it doesn't matter what you like, Jared Dillard. I really think y'all both put in some solid arguments, but I've got to give the round to Meredith once again because Von Miller's not going anywhere, Jared. We know for a fact Matt Forte is going somewhere.
He is a free agent, though. You never know.
He is a free agent.
Dollars, it don't make sense. He is a free agent. It makes sense.
I just feel like Jared's not getting enough love. You're making if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And Von Miller, we think he's going back to the Denver Broncos, but I don't think it's going to be a franchise tag situation, and I don't think that should count as a free agent. It's not his decision. It's the fact that the Broncos don't want to use him, so they're going to put the franchise tag on him for 1 year. If he was just a free agent and didn't have that possibility, I think he is your clear choice.
All right. So Meredith's
half
up
a point?
Meredith
Help
is
her
up.
out.
I'm sorry, Meredith is up 2-0, Jared. We're heading into some speedy times now, and you're gonna have to find a way to get back into this so you can force a
Is
tiebreaker.
there double points, like double the round, double the fun? Like, what's going on here?
We'll see. I make up the rules as I go. Championships or consistent winning. The Hawks are about to completely blow up their roster, and that's going to probably send them into some inconsistent seasons. They're winning consistently year after year, but they're not winning titles. Consistent winning or championships?
That's great and all, but it doesn't mean you reach the pinnacle of the sport. Just winning a championship in any sport is what the objective is.
Now, let me see if I got the question right. So if I win, if I'm winning constantly, I don't win a championship.
Yeah, let's say you're Auburn football.
Okay. I mean, we only won 2 championships in how many years?
Do you trade what the Lakers have for, let's say, what Atlanta Hawks basketball has at this moment?
So we're saying if I choose winning seasons, I'm not gonna win a championship. What are you trying to say?
You will win a championship like once every 30 seasons.
30. I'm going championships then, because at the end of the day, I will take a couple losing seasons. Let's say we're going a span of 5, 6, 7 years. I'll take a couple losing seasons, and then that one breakout run where we do get a championship, I would pick that. Constant winning, yeah, it's great when you win a lot, but if it don't end in rings or something, ask Mark Richt, because he was constantly winning at Georgia, and guess what? Boop, you're in Miami.
And this round, because I like what you had to say there about Mark Richt, goes to Jared Dillard. The score is now 2-1. We're moving on to possibly our last segment if Meredith gets the W here. If not, Jared, you force a tiebreaker situation. We're talking about, before the show, greatest quarterback of all time, Joe Montana or Tom Brady.
But Noah, I love what you got to say, and I'm gonna let you finish, like Kanye West would say. But we got to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we'll finish with that topic here on the Extra Point, WEGO 91.1 FM.
I chose open adoption. My mom got mad at me. We adopt people into our family, but we don't adopt out of our family. I called the adoptive mom. When I placed Miles in her arms, her whole body lit up. In the end, everybody came together. My mom told me that I'm the strongest person she knows.
For more information, visit ichooseadoption.org.
I'm Melinda, and I chose adoption.
We got adopted. Over the years, I came to know what really happened. She had us when she was 17. The way she saw things going, it wasn't a good environment to raise a kid. The fact that she did that just shows how strong of a woman my mother is, and I thank her each and every day for it. I wouldn't be the person who I am today, and I like the person I am today. I knew I was loved and I was part of a family, so that was what's important to me.
For more information, visit ichooseadoption.org.
I'm Christoph. And I'm Christopher. And our mom chose adoption.
Hello and welcome back to the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm Jared Dillard, and my co-host Meredith Brito is here with me. And also Noah Gardner. We're playing the game show 1 Second. Meredith currently leads yours truly 2-1, but I'm here to make a comeback. Noah, last topic once again for the crowd.
Well, it could not be the last topic. Let's say you win this and you force the tiebreaker. I'm sure you don't want to end in a tie. This isn't soccer as much as I wish it was. Joe Montana or Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback
ladies first
of all time.
Well, for me, I think it's Tom Brady. Joe Montana has played on amazing teams all around, whereas Tom Brady in some years hasn't. There's been some teams that he's played on that have had terrible defenses. And he hasn't always had the best offensive line or the best receivers. If you take Jerry Rice away from Joe Montana, that could really affect some of those outcomes. And, they both won the same amount of championships now. And I think that Tom Brady can win more games in his career, and I think he could possibly win another Super Bowl before his career's over.
Here's my thing. I'm a Colts fan, but I'll take Tom Brady for this reason. I'm not gonna look at.
Wait, you both take Tom Brady?
Yeah, but
there's no debate in this.
I might have a better argument though.
This is terrible.
I might have a better argument though.
Let's see.
I'm gonna take Tom Brady not because he wins championships, not because of his wins, but because he is that team player. He takes pay cuts so players can come back. That's the kind of person I want to have on my team. That guy will lay down the line for his teammates when need be.
I agree, and he's such a great leader.
Oh, don't agree with me. I'm trying to win here.
He's such a great leader. Everyone on that team loves and respects Tom Brady.
He has championships, he has wins, and he's willing to lay down the line for his teammates. He's willing to take that pay cut for his teammates.
But he's also married to Giselle, the highest paid model for how many years?
Well, that
he doesn't need money.
Homie just lucked out.
Well, I have to say this. I did not like what you said, Meredith, about how you started attacking whether the players would be the same without some of their players. Joe Montana's an exceptional quarterback. You can't possibly say that. And I disagree with both of you. Joe Montana's greatest quarterback of all time.
I didn't say
hands down.
I didn't say he wasn't good. I just said I would take Tom Brady.
Me too.
Over Joe Montana.
Especially right now.
But my argument was better though.
Jared, you won the round. We forced a tiebreaker here.
There it is.
You just want the tiebreaker.
I am like Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. Right
don't
now.
hate me. Hate the game or hate the show. I don't hate.
Don't
hate
me. Don't hate the player.
I'm done with 1 second.
Yes. Whatever.
No, you ain't done,
whatever that. Whatever you children colloquially will refer to it as now, I have no idea. But now we're moving on, and
what's the last topic?
And also, I want to say this. Sometimes refs miss calls, and right now I'm a ref, so maybe I missed a call, Meredith. I don't know. Warriors 73 wins or not? They're looking really hot right now. How's it going to go?
Wait, this is the last topic.
This is to decide who's going to win it all.
Wait, what are we arguing exactly? Just
will they get 73 wins? The Golden State Warriors, will they break the Chicago Bulls record? They're 48-4.
Ladies first.
I think there's a possibility, but I think that's a really hard number to beat. I mean, I think Steph Curry is one of the greatest players to ever play the game, but I don't know if they can beat that record.
Here's my argument. Will they break that record? I mean, at this point, he's looking
make
good.
An actual argument, please.
No, at this point, he's looking good. They only have 4 losses. But that season wear and tear is going to wear on them.
Yes.
So what it really comes down to, whether they break the record or not, let's just sit down and let's congratulate the Warriors for having the type of record that they have.
Okay, guys, I need a definite yes or no answer at this point, and then just a couple of words why they will or will not. And so far, Jared, you've given a little bit more on that, so I'm kind of leaning your way just to give you a heads up, Meredith.
I say no. I mean, I do agree with the wear and tear, but I have a feeling that some teams are going to get better throughout the season and possibly figure out their strategy and know how to beat them.
I say yes because the Warriors are the most consistent, complete team that I've seen in a long time.
You just contradicted your argument.
What was my argument?
Oh, man, Jared, you may have just lost it.
You said that they wouldn't because of wear and tear, and then you said that they would.
No, I said it would be hard for them because of wear and tear.
That is true. That is true.
I said it would be hard for them because of wear and tear, but I also said they can do it because they are the most consistent and complete team in the NBA. And let's sit down and congratulate them for reaching the point they have reached. Because have 48-4, like that's mind-boggling. Nobody came into the league this year thinking, man, the Warriors, they're gonna have that record. No, nobody thought.
I mean, but
so
they also
give
came
them
off.
Congratulations.
They just came off a championship, so if any team were to do it, they probably would have suspected that the Warriors.
Even teams that come off championships, nobody's gonna say, oh yeah, that team's made 48-4 at the All-Star break. Nobody thought that.
No, I mean that's really extreme.
Unless you were in Washington, Colorado, or DC, you're the only people thinking that. 3-pointer, there it is right there.
I mean, yes, but as they say, all good things must come to an end, and I see there being something that gets in the way of that.
Noah, your verdict.
This is tough on me, you guys, because
injury to Steph Curry, what would happen?
Oh, how dare you play that card? Oh my goodness! I said earlier in the show it's voodoo to talk about injuries like that, and I can't believe you just played that card on one of probably the nicest players in the league right now.
He is. Steph Curry's amazing.
But also, that's a hypothetical statement,
yes.
And you can't make that kind of argument. So, with my verdict, it's going towards Jared Dillard today, 3-2 with the miracle comeback victory. But Meredith, you did a good job today. You did a very good job. I really enjoyed listening to both of your arguments. Jared, any thoughts about your victory today and where you're going?
First, I just want to thank God for giving me the win tonight. I want to thank Britt Bowen, who's always been there for me. You.
I had one of the greatest arguments of all time.
I also want to thank Britt Bowen. You the real MVP, Britt. Billy Ferris, I hate the Patriots, but JJ Point, get your hand down. I ain't talking about you. Ryan, 20 pieces of void. I see over there. He can be dropping dimes and buckets and the Honeys numbers tonight at our playoff game. Noah, for being the host. I still hate you, but it's okay. No, I'm just playing. I don't hate you. I don't hate you.
It's because you make that noise.
Well, the victory's now going to Meredith. What do you have to say?
Yes! I told you. Let me finish. I had the greatest argument of all time, and I was right.
The win was official, by the way, guys.
So wait, who won?
I did.
Jared obviously won, but he just made me very sad. But for real, I guess it's time to move into the closing topics of the show. Wouldn't you agree, Jared?
We only have about 2 minutes left. So, extra point. I'll go first. I do not want Dwight Howard on the Dallas Mavericks. JJ called me last night and he said, man, trades, man, yeet. Dwight Howard, Dallas Mavericks trade. And I said no, because Dwight Howard, let me calm down. Okay. I said no, because the Mavericks had to give up so much to get Dwight Howard. And every time the Mavericks went in on trying to get a player, they had to bust their roster up, and the team was never the same. It reminded me after the 2011 championship win when the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA title, yet broke their roster up to get this star player, and the star player never even went there. So we lost 66% of our roster because we went going on this one big player. We let go vital parts of our team. And I don't want to do that again with Dwight Howard. No, don't put me through that. Unless you want to trade Dwight Howard for a taco meal at Moe's, then I don't want him.
Dang. Now, from your team to mine, man, those Atlanta Falcons.
They suck.
They do. And they have so many holes they need to fill that they won't be able to do in the draft. And they've been horrible in the draft. So, Falcons, please just finally get some decent free agents. Please.
But how are they going to do that when Matt Ryan's contract takes up their whole salary cap? I know me and you have had this discussion before.
I mean, name one defensive player on the Falcons that has a really big contract. No one other than Matt Ryan has a huge contract.
The Falcons have a defense?
The sound in the Georgia Dome.
Exactly. So imagine the Falcons finished, 8-8. If they got like one or two really good players added to that team, they could possibly make it to the playoffs. But man, they need a lot of help.
And on that, we're gonna end
understatement.
Noah, how'd you fare on the show today?
I thought I did very good. I think I'm the MVP of the show. I think everybody out there knows I stole their heart.
And I cut off his mic because he has a big head. I'm sorry. All right, no, I
have the biggest head in the studio, hands down, and that's what wins me championships because I'm confident.
Defense wins championships. Anyway, this has been the Extra Point here on WEG on 91.1 FM.